Hello again, it's Jason Hennessy and Chris Watson from Wedlock Magazine and Bridal Traffic, and welcome to Chapter 7, entitled Blogging for SEO. You'll notice in previous chapters that two concepts that we repeat over and over again are links and content. Well, blogging satisfies both of these SEO requirements, which is why it's such a powerful tactic. Blogging allows you to gain links by adding content. So we want you to pay extra close attention to blogging. So grab a notepad and I guess we can get started. Chris, do you want to say anything before that?
Yeah, just to reiterate what you just said, blogging really does serve a dual purpose. The first is giving your site a lot of content, and as we mentioned before in previous chapters, Google sends spiders out every day and sometimes every minute, and it just never stops. And what they're looking for is sites not to be static. So if you're one of those sites that are making noise in the form of contributing new, fresh content on a daily basis, they're going to pay more attention to you. You actually want that. You want to get on their radar. You want them to pay attention to you and have them notice you and what you're doing with your keywords. You can start putting those keywords in there, and that's going to have a wonderful effect from Google's perspective on how they see your site from a content perspective. The other side of blogging is how it plays into link building. Whenever you're writing blogs, you're also dropping your embedded links in there with your keywords. It will then be picked up by other bloggers or other people out there on the internet, and hopefully they'll grab your blog content and start to use it on their sites as well.
So let's get your blog set up. The first step is making sure that you choose the right blogging software. In other words, a content management system. This system provides you the ability to log in with a username and a password, and then you can start adding posts in real time and start making those posts search engine friendly. The one that I would advise people most to install would be the WordPress template. That's simply because I've tested WordPress. It's free and I use it all the time. It tends to get spidered relatively quickly, and it is made very search engine friendly because Google really seems to like the way that they've built the code, the source code for WordPress. Not to mention that there's a bunch of different modules and plugins that you can install that will make a huge difference with your blog being search engine friendly.
Yeah, this is such an important point. A lot of people will now run off and go to WordPress.com and they'll start a blog. And that's not what we're talking about. A WordPress blog doesn't reside on your site. So you're not doing your rankings any good. What we're talking about is going to WordPress.org and getting a site from there or getting a blog from there that you can then embed into your site. The blog has to be on your domain, on your site.
Right, and what Chris means is when you create your blog, you don't want your blog to be hosted on WordPress, meaning xyz.wordpress.com. Because then you'd be doing nothing but building traffic for WordPress. That's their site and not yours. You want all your hard work to benefit your site. Remember, the whole goal of building a blog is for SEO purposes. Well, not all, but mostly. And so that you can start to grab what we call long-tail keywords. Long-tail keywords are essentially words and phrases, sentences and paragraphs that are just within the content of your page. So again, it could be just a couple sentences or it could be just a few keywords together. You've got to realize that they say 70% of all searches done on Google are unique, meaning Google has never seen those searches before. So be sure to host your blog directly on your domain. And what that means is take your domain and install WordPress on the back end in a folder. So it should actually read www.xyz.com/blog. And that's where your blog should live.
Jason, before we move on, how easy is it for someone, and say they're sitting there watching this DVD series and they're a florist in Denver, and they have a site that has, say, 10 to 12 pages or something like that, how easy is it for them to just take that site and then go to WordPress.org and grab a blog template and then put it on their site?
Sure, Chris. Well, it's not really that hard, but usually if you have somebody as in a webmaster or someone who knows HTML, then I would advise to reach out to them and get them to help you. Or you can go to youtube.com and do a search for how do I install a WordPress blog on my site, and I'm sure you'll come up with a bunch of instructional videos. But just for the sake of time, I'm not going to get too much into the exact details of how to install a blog, because we're going to get into that in later chapters when we talk about outsourcing.
Right. I just wanted to touch on it briefly so that people understand that there is going to come a time when you want to do this dance where you have to have access to what's called your FTP. And that's basically access to your site. So either you have to get access to it or you have to give someone else access to it in order to install a blog.
Okay, Chris, so now we have WordPress and we installed it on our domain.